all set.
Thank you, Owen. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Town Office Feasibility Study Committee. Just a few notes here. This open meeting of the Town Office Feasibility Study Committee is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed into law March 29, 2023. All members of the Town Office Feasibility Study Committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The Act allows the Town Office Feasibility Study Committee to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed in the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Dario.
Here.
Aaron.
Present.
Linda.
Here.
Judy.
Here.
Kristen.
Here.
Ashley.
Here.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Scott.
Present.
Sean.
Present.
Meeting business ground rules. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. By phone, dial *9 to raise your hand and wait to be recognized by the chair. Please note that part of your phone number will be visible to those viewing the meeting. By Zoom, click Raise Hand at the bottom of your screen and wait to be recognized by the chair. The chair will ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify their names and addresses only. Once the chair has a list of public commenters, the chair will call each by name and afford 3 minutes for any comment. That's the notes. So our agenda items, first item is the acceptance of the October 25th meeting minutes. Did everyone get a chance to look those over? Any comments? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the October, where's the date?
October
Okay.
25th.
The meeting minutes from October 25th. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Dario?
Yes.
Aaron?
I don't know. Should I abstain? I wrote them.
No, you can still vote. If you weren't there, then you have to abstain.
Well, they're perfect. So,
So you approve,
Yeah.
right?
correct.
Okay. Judy?
Aye.
Kristen?
Aye.
Ashley?
Yes.
Linda, were you there? That was the meeting you weren't there for, correct?
Yeah, I was not there, so I
Okay.
can't.
So you'll have to abstain, and I vote yes.
Okay.
So vote is unanimous with 1 abstention. The November 1st meeting minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look those over?
Yes.
Any comments? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. Moved by Kristen, seconded by Judy. Roll call vote. Dario?
Dane, I wasn't there.
Aaron?
Yes.
Linda?
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Judy?
Yes.
Kristen?
Aye.
And Ashley?
Abstain.
Okay, and I vote aye, so unanimous 4 votes and 3 abstentions, right? Yeah. Okay, Now we'll open it up to public comment. If there's any members of the public who wish to comment on the process so far, just raise your hand.
What was the date of those November notes? 11/1?
11-1, yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So I guess we'll move on to the deliberation. Curious now that we've got everyone here, what everyone's thoughts were on the presentations. I know we went over a little bit on it on the first. I guess, which would be easier? Let me ask it this way. Would it be easier if we went through each of the architects first and had everyone sort of give their pros and cons?
I think we should have the people who weren't at the last meeting speak. The rest of us had our shot, didn't we? I mean, I don't know what else
Well,
we're gonna add.
Yeah, but we can still speak on it even if we were in the last meeting.
We can just say, we hope everybody glanced at the November 1st meeting minutes if they weren't here, so they get like the gist of what that conversation was about. I agree with Erin that we don't need to say all those same things over again, but if we have additional things we want to add, I think we could do that.
So then,
but I'm not sure, Bill, sorry, I'm not sure that it makes sense to do it by architect. Does it make sense to do it by like having like Ashley and Dario start with what they thought about each three, because they didn't get to do that yet?
Sure, we can do that. So Ashley, why don't you kick us off if you don't mind?
Sure. It's a little loud over here. I feel like the third presenter kind of really won the day for me. I thought they were really polished. They had a really strong bench in terms of all the folks that were working on the project. The project manager was present and experienced. They had a lot of good experience. The first team, was I liked that they laid out their strategy for moving forward. I thought that was very nice, the way they walked us through everything, but I did feel like they kind of had their minds made up and might not bring some new creative ideas to the project. The second ones, I just didn't feel like their heart was in it, and it was kind of like it was very rote for them. So for me, I felt like
first, second, and third. So just
HK was first, Icon was third, and I'm blanking on the name of the second.
HKT was second.
Yeah.
Icon was
HKT,
third. BH plus A was first.
Okay.
BH plus A was.
Sorry about that. I can picture them in my mind. I just the letters got me. But yeah, so I think for me it was a very clear winner in my mind was number 3, but I don't think be super disappointed if we went with number 1, BH plus A. But the second group I didn't feel like had the experience or the excitement for the project.
Okay. Judy, you weren't here for November, correct? For the first meeting, November 1st?
Bill, I've been at all the meetings.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
Oh, was it Kristen?
No, it was Linda wasn't there November 1st either. I was there.
Okay.
I missed November 1st.
Yeah, I was trying to leave Dario to last because I didn't want him swaying anyone else's ideas. But go ahead, Dario.
I can wait. Is anybody else? That's fine.
I think everybody else is gone.
I'm going to do whatever Ashley said because she swayed my opinion. Well, and I actually agree with the same order she said. I was kind of tied with BHA and Icon, primarily because the people there that were going to be our project managers had the experience. I think number two, HKT had experience, but it wasn't with the people that were involved with the project, which was kind of really the basis of how I would make the decision. So, and then Icon, Ned, who was the presenter that didn't introduce himself, would be involved and had done a lot of town halls. So it was really more on that. All three are certainly capable. I think Sean and Scott have to make sure all the technical stuff is in place with insurance and everything, which I'm sure they all will be. But if I had to do it in an order, and I'm looking at my notes, I would do Icon, BH plus A, then HKT.
Okay. So, is there any other comments from the members? Anyone at all? Go ahead, Judy.
One comment I had, and I suppose, having this additional time, I've just gone through everything yet again. I don't know if this is something we should be concerned about, and perhaps Dario, with his expertise, could provide some insight. I'm looking at the list of current projects that BH&A is working on, and Joel Vargman, pardon me, who would be our project manager, or we would certainly request that he be very closely involved at Dario's suggestion. Are they spreading themselves too thin? There's two pages here of current projects, and Joel's on a bunch of them. So that's a question, I'm regretful that I didn't ask this question when we had them live, but I've had more time to go through this. So that's more just a rhetorical question. Dario, again, I defer to you. Are you able to offer, do you feel like they have the subs to back them up on these massive, massive projects?
Well, I guess some of it's marketing voodoo when you put the principals' names on everything. Some of them, they're barely involved. Some of them, they're very intensely involved. It's a great question because you want them to focus and pay attention to our project like it's the only project they have, even though it won't be. So if it was a tie between Icon and BH plus A, and you really wanted BH plus A, before you sign them up, you just say, I want your word, or I want it in writing that you'll be here at all the meetings and you'll be committed. And I mean, people have done that to me. I want you here X hours a week or a day, and make them commit. And if they commit, then they're kind of legally bound to keep their word. So I don't know that they would commit if they couldn't do it, because I tried to make a point during the 25th that I wanted to know each of the people that were going to be involved in the project and to what extent. So we didn't get the voodoo of, the bait and switch. So I think if you sign them up, you just reaffirm, whoever makes that call says, okay, we want you, but we want to make sure you're the person who's going to be here for the majority of the meetings, not necessarily some of the grunt work where they have to go out and measure a building or take pictures, but get that assurance. If they don't give it to you, you're on to the next firm. I mean, that's how I would deal with it, because what they're working on and how much work they're doing on each project, and it's all over the board for us. I'm very intensely involved in projects in the front end. Dana Hall, we've got a big project going on, but I've got two people working on it. They're probably putting in 20, 30 hours a week. And all I do is review stuff in the background. I know what's going on, but I don't have to attend the meetings anymore. Up front, I was at all the meetings because that's where I was most needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And are you comfortable with somebody that's going to look at our project in the beginning and then pass it off to everybody? I thought you made it very clear to us that you want somebody that's going to be hands-on throughout.
Right, and that's exactly what I would want, and make sure that they say they will. When I'm talking about Dana Hall, this is a 2-year project. I was involved in the front end design aspect where I have the most value. When it comes to, you know, are the bricks in place? How much do we bill for the steel, and do we have the sheetrock painted yet? They don't need me. That's really a waste of my time, and we have people that are more qualified than I am to check that out. On this project, they need to be there for the lion's share of it because it's really intense and it's programming, it's a master plan. So they don't come to the first meeting and disappear. To your point, Judy, they have to be here on a project of this type when you're doing the study pretty much full time.
Okay, so to piggyback on that, and I'm not trying to steer either way, I'm trying to understand.
Sure.
Is it an accurate statement to everybody that if we went with BH&A, we would want Joel Bargman to be the project manager, hands-on throughout this project?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Same thing for Ned with Icon.
So I'm just glancing here. He's got a $32 million project, a $100 million project, a $40 million project, another $41 million project, an $80 million project, 25.5, 18.5, 16.5. Just by quickly citing those numbers, Dario, is that something that one individual can juggle?
Again, I don't know what capacity he's working on those projects. That's just a question to Joel himself.
Okay.
And get it in writing, put it in the contract. If he can't be running all those jobs, but he can be involved with them at certain levels, you know. And I don't know, again, we have probably 40 or 50 active projects, and half of them are probably have my name on them, and we're only 10 people, and we're doing fine because some are beginning, some are ending. But if I had 3 of them starting off, it'd be very difficult for me because that's where I get involved. Where Mike Gardner gets involved in project management, that's 6 months after the drawings are done, yet I'm still the contact. So I would ask them directly and make them commit, because he could be working on one job, you know, 40 hours a week, and you wouldn't get his time, or he could be working on 10 jobs, 4 hours a week. You just have to get them to commit, because that's really the bottom line. If we hire them, we say, we want to make sure you're the PM. We want to make sure you're here, you know, 80% of the time, because there'll be some tasks it'd be foolish for him to be here for. And if he commits to be the PM responsible for everything, attend all the important meetings, then I'm fine, because you have to take them on their word for it. Plus, you got it in writing.
Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I agree, Dario. You know, we've all listed the most amazing principals on our proposals at the top of the tree, and they go to the interviews and they're the best, and they are there to cut the ribbon. They're there at town meeting, but you don't really see them beyond that. It's, you know, on feasibility projects, it's critical to have high level experienced staff overseeing almost every step of the way. Once the program is established, you push it off to the designers, and principals are faces of projects in QC. One of the challenges as an owner is maintaining compliance with those types of requirements. We sign a contract with an architectural firm. They say, we're going to give you a principal 6 hours a week attending every meeting, and then they don't. Well, is that a breach of contract? Are we going to have it such that it's a breach of contract, and then we can cancel the contract and start all over again? Do we lose it? It's something you want to have, It's a difficult thing when it comes to the enforcement piece of it. I'm not leaning in any one direction. I'm staff. I'll support and promote any firm selected. I will let you know that HKT's principal in charge, their pick, has been involved in every meeting and email thread on the fire station project. I don't have any experience with the other firms. My first exposure to HKT, but that was asked of them, and they've stood by that. So I just wanted to share my thoughts.
Thanks, Scott.
I don't know what the town can do, but if we have our subs and we want the principal and they're not involved, we don't pay them, and they get involved. I mean, I don't know if towns can just hold back the payment, but I'm telling you, that's the real world, and that's what we do. You promise to be here, you're not here. When you show up, you get your next check. It's that simple, rather than go to court. And I also think, and again, whether they do or not, a lot of these master plans or feasibility studies, when we do it for customers, not towns, I'm heavily involved because and we charge, a lot less, because it's almost a paid sales call, because then the people realize, wow, they're really good at this. And then the big project comes and everybody hopefully would be in love with Joel or Ned or Bill, because you've worked and seen them, even though they might not be involved on the implementation. You usually want your best foot up front when you're doing these projects at the beginning, and that's when it's most important. So, but Judy, if you're not comfortable, we got two other picks. So I mean, we can do it, but in all cases, I would make them commit to the PMs that we want. So whether it's Ned, or Bill or Joel, you want that exact same commitment.
It's not that I'm not comfortable. I don't know if one individual can adequately service the number of projects. And though I just cited the top dollar values of the information he provided, so I was looking for insight that will help me. That was just one concern, that if we want him as the front person, can.
Yep, they have to commit. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Kristen.
Bill, just so you know, Aaron's had his virtual hand up for a while, and it's very
Sorry.
pale and kind of hard to see. So
I can't see it. Wow, that's like really light. Sorry,
Yeah.
Aaron. Go ahead.
I don't know. Sorry. So 2 points. Number one, does anybody know if the house next to 63 Main is still for sale? Or has it gone off?
I'm pretty sure it's still for sale. I think I just saw it.
Yeah, and we have to be careful with a house like that. So I don't know if anyone did a lookup on it, but they're asking double what the house went for just a year ago.
Well, Bill,
I would hate to be a taxpayer and find out that we paid double for a house just to level it, because that's what they would be doing.
So Bill, I'm not suggesting that anybody take steps to pursue it. I'm simply inquiring whether the architect that ends up being engaged by us can look at it as a possibility of being incorporated into 63 Main, if 63 Main ends up being whatever property that they're going to recommend that we utilize. So how the architect pursues that or communicates with the owners or the realty team, I'm leaving to the architect. I'm simply inquiring whether the property is still available or not. And if it is still available, then perhaps whoever the architect is that we select, we can have, again, just like we've had discussions about making sure so-and-so is going to be at certain meetings, we can have instructions in the retainer that ask them to look into that once they've evaluated all the other properties. So that's point number one. Point number two is I attended the select board meeting a week ago. I think, Kristen, it was, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And Andy Dowd was presenting on the future of the location for town elections in the town, because there's apparently a movement now to get the elections out of the middle school. So again, my other point is, whatever this firm is that we end up going with, I'd like to also make sure that they're contemplating the possibility of a space in this new town hall that might be large enough to accommodate town elections. Not sure if it's possible, but we can ask them to look into it. So those are my 2 points.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would hate to your second point, I think I completely agree. I think at one point, one of the presenters, and now I forget which one, was talking about doing for West Main and the fire station, and having sort of a walkway between the two. That might be something where you could have a big facility in the back, where the old fire station is, and that would be big enough to be able to handle the elections. That would definitely be something to look for. I completely agree with you on that one. I would hate to your first comment, I would hate to guide the architects. I'm sure they'll be aware of any properties that are available for purchase on any of these lots that are adjacent. So I would hate to guide them in that. I would think that we would choose somebody who would actually look at that themselves and make that as part of their recommendation. So I don't think we would need to guide them on that, but definitely when they do the survey of what we are looking for in a new town hall, that may definitely be something that needs to be brought up by Andy and his team. Yep. Good, Kristen.
I have another point that I don't think I brought it up last time. But I might have. I didn't see it in the minutes though. But so the first group, BH plus A, they had done sort of a quick overview of each of the 4 properties, and they seem to have already kind of written off 2 of them. And I understand that the current fire station is probably way too small for a town hall, but I just felt like they had written off White Cliffs a little too quickly, and that was a negative to me for them, because I really I would love some fresh ideas on that building. Like, it is a big headache for a group of 5 people in this town that I am one of. And I would love more energy going to that building, and not choosing anyone for this particular job that's already going to say, bad idea. And I mean, that's how it came across to me. So I'm probably not going to vote for them.
No, and actually, it's funny you bring up the White Cliffs, because that actually came up in our planning board meeting as well in our last planning board meeting. So there's 2 sets of 5 groups that this building is and this one parcel is a bit of it's something we definitely want to do with, and I love the idea of using that, but there will be a cost to it, right? And so, but it should be equally looked at. I agree with you.
Yeah, it should be considered. Yeah. And since we do have 3 good candidates, I mean, if that's nitpicking or splitting hairs, that's fine with me. Like, that's how you figure out, that's how you make these decisions. So I think we have some good choices. So.
Yep. Dario.
Yes, I have a question. When we're done with this and we select whomever, are we done as a committee?
No, in fact, I talked to Mitch about that. So he wants us to go through the entire process from start to construction.
And who will they be sitting with to ask, what do you want for the new town hall? Will any of us be involved in that?
We'll be involved in the meetings, but I think a couple of them actually said that they do surveys of the people in town hall, right? So the people who are doing the work, what do they need? What are their needs and what are their wants? for each office space.
Yeah, when we do programming, it's very interesting because we ask, I'll do something that's not being built anymore. I'll go back to the newspapers, but we would ask the production manager, the ad manager, the editor, the graphics manager what they want. But at a higher level, there should be direction, something like Aaron brought up, who would be thinking about a place for people to vote, and who would be thinking about in the interview process higher up in the town. Well, gee, we have, to Kristen's point, we have White Cliffs, which is, we paid a lot of money for, and it's just bleeding our money away. Is there a way to use that? And again, not in an effort to try to use it, but if you build a building next to it and you connect to it somehow, then you get to utilize the asset that's there and stop the bleeding. And in a similar way, even with the existing fire station, it's not big enough, but a simple addition could make it very practical as an alternative. You got the view of the water and everything, where we talk about reusing the existing building. That's a phasing problem, even though it would be a great building to just gut and start over with, because everything is there. It's got good bones, as a couple of the architects said. But at a higher level, that's not going to come out of a normal worker within the town hall, that kind of higher level thinking. And I'm not sure who they interview, whether it's the new town manager, or because the goals of the town have to also, you need the big picture over not just the workers, but the people that have plans, for it. I think Aaron brought up the perfect thing. They would never think to bring up, hey, what if we want to hold elections here? Right. Where would that come from?
Yep. Scott.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the expectation is, from my perspective, is that whatever firm is brought in would meet and discuss with each department head what their department needs are when it comes to access to the public, meeting space, off-site amenities that are required. Are there options for a certain department to be relocated to another location, i.e. recreation at the old fire station, DPW at the highway, whatever? I would expect them to talk to the director and department head level, and then convey that data that they collected from us to this committee, town administrator's office, elected officials, to let them know this is what has been seen as needs. It would be nice if there was a staffing study done in parallel, or in advance, just so that the 10 to 20 year projection for what I don't know what the staffing needs are in a town clerk's office in 20 years. For all I know, it could be twice or half based on technology. But that's my expectation, is that they would figure out what my needs are as public works, and can you go someplace else, or if not, where do you see your department in 20 years?
Linda.
All right, I just had a question about process. What happens to this committee's recommendation?
For, you mean which architect?
Yes.
So then our recommendation, Scott, I'm assuming you or somebody at Town Hall will write up the contract based on our recommendation, and then they'll be awarded the contract, and then we will start working with them, sort of like what the Downtown Revitalization Committee is doing, working with sorry, Scott, what's the name of the architectural firm?
Weston and Sampson.
Weston and Sampson.
Yep.
The work they're doing in conjunction with Weston and Sampson. So we would be working in conjunction with those architects.
This committee is
assuming Scott's not going to draw up the contract, that it's going to be town council that draws it up.
We have our standard contracts. I'll typically, the staff, myself, town administrator, negotiate scope and fee. Contractual conditions are based on our standards. They go to the architect, get their amendments, and then go through town council. So the architectural firm, their council, our council go back and forth, while the scope and fee is negotiated between staff and their technical principals. This committee's charge, I guess the simplest way to describe it would be the fire station feasibility building committee. What we need, where do you need it, what's available, let's find out where it can go and make some recommendations. I would expect, the outcome of this to result in a next phase similar to the fire station. Next phase being, site processes and design services. Whether this committee has their mission modified by the select board to include design phase and like as a building committee, or if it does what the fire station did, was gets dissolved and a new committee gets created for project implementation. I'm not sure what the select board will choose.
Thank you.
Yep. Judy.
Okay, I'm going to go in a different direction for a minute. Did anybody want to comment on Scott's? All right. Would you all mind if we kind of open up a discussion about HKT for a moment? And again, this isn't intended to be steering. But at the last meeting, I had kind of talked about the energy of each of the presenters, and I felt that HKT was the least impressive. Bill Hammer, while I think we all can agree he's a gifted architect, he's not a great presenter. But having said that, and we had a discussion about the handouts, and they had the most, in my opinion, impressive handout. So I've kind of gone through it some more, and they have a ton of town hall experience. I won't cite it all, but a lot of town hall experience. And they talked a lot about the phased construction, that the more I looked into it, and in any building we go with, White Cliffs excluded, that could be a favorable way to go. They talked a lot about solar and geothermal features. They talked a lot about accommodating the schedule if they do need to do the phased construction, accommodating the schedule of the residents in the building, or the employees in the building, how they'd even come in after hours and do work if need be. They talked about recapturing a lot of previously underutilized space. So a lot of these keywords were kind of making them look like a very open-minded outfit. That and I'm hearing some of the conversations tonight, and I'm feeling like they're kind of being pushed down. And I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a conversation, get some input from you all, based on those highlights. Is it something that we should kind of think about? No?
Any comments? No?
No.
I have a question. My question is relative to whatever voting method you're going to implement. Once we go through and identify our top three in whatever order it is, and once everybody sees where the numbers fall, does that conclude the voting, or does that then give us an opportunity to see how close we are, and maybe somebody switches and that moves somebody else up, whatever? Like, is it a one and done? That's my question.
No, everyone will do their individual votes. We'll tally it up. We'll see where we are. If people don't agree with that, we can definitely have an open discussion about that and see if anyone wants to change their vote. It's basically, the way I've got it set up here is it's basically a who's your first, who's your second, who's your third. After we tally them up, whoever has the lowest is, the one that we're looking at, and then, you know, again, we can have an open discussion.
And I guess respectfully, Judy, I mean, if you want to further the conversation, we can, but I would move that we go to this voting process and see where the numbers are right now and decide whether or not we need to keep rehashing these people.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's fine with me. Ellen.
Okay.
So
Since we
give them, are you going to explain the voting again?
Yeah, I'm actually going to share my screen here. So I've got it up on my screen. So let me. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
So it's really simple. 1, 2, you know, whatever order you have them in. So, Kristen, who's your number 1?
I guess I would just go with icon.
Okay. Who's your number 2?
HKT.
And number 3 is BHNA?
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley?
I'm the same as Kristen.
Okay. Judy?
I have HKT is 1, icon is 2, BHNA is 3.
Okay. Aaron?
I'm the same as Judy.
Dario?
Icon 1, BHA 2, HKT 3.
Okay, and I have the same as Dario. So, according to what we have here, icon is first, HKT would be second, and BH and A is third. Does
Well,
anyone have any concerns with that?
Can you stop sharing? Do we need to keep the share on? Are you okay with that?
I can definitely stop sharing if you'd like.
I just want to see people while I'm taking notes.
Yep.
I'm listening. I just need to go get a dog bone.
Okay.
The cat?
So I guess, Mr. Chair, respectfully, I think the question really is whether or not the 4-vote difference between 1 and 2 is something that's going to change. If it's not, I mean, we certainly don't need to discuss the third place guy anymore, do we?
I leave that up to everyone else. Is everyone okay just eliminating BH and A right off the bat?
Okay.
Okay.
So I don't know that another hour of discussion is going to get me to change my vote, but I'm happy to go with with the front runner. So, which wouldn't be my front runner, but I think they were my second. So, sort of like what Ashley said in the beginning, like I would prefer A, but if B is who everybody picks, then great. Let's just roll with B.
Okay. Judy, you had them as number 2 as well. So I know Dario and I had HKT as 3. You and Aaron had them as 1, and Kristen and Ashley had them as 2. Is there anything you feel strongly that we're missing with HKT that you think might sway our votes, or are you okay with this process as is?
I felt each of the 3 were great candidates. So again, just a few minutes ago, I talked about, I just kind of summarized some notes for myself as I kind of went through everything again today. And I felt that HKT just had a really, they're really open to a lot of ideas, a lot of innovative ideas. So innovation is what this project's going to require. Having said that, Icon really impressed me as well. As did BH&A, but I feel like they just have too much on their plate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone here pretty much agrees that, all three are viable candidates and good firms, and they all made really good presentations. It was the smallest of, differences between them that really, had us have to choose between one or the other, which makes it a difficult choice sometimes. If
Yeah,
there's no other, go ahead,
I
Kristen.
would just add to Judy's point. I loved HKT's presentation and their innovative ideas and a lot of their green ideas. And maybe we can just make sure Icon is sort of working in those directions if we're going with Icon, because they did seem like a similar kind of forward-thinking group. And I'm sure it may just be things they didn't mention in the presentation as much, but I'm guessing that they would probably consider all those things too.
Yeah, I mean, I paid really close attention to the green aspects, to the climate adaptation and resilience pieces, and I felt like Icon was strong there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have voted for them. I did feel like HKT, it was very clear that the project manager didn't have that much town offices experience, and I think that kind of swayed me, but also they didn't go through their processes as much. And I felt like Icon was just really polished with what they had to kind of back up their team and support their team in terms of kind of the applications and processes that they used to back up their design and decisions. But again, yeah, I agree that HKT was great. I just felt like maybe they'd be better at a fire station project, which, obviously if it was an more industrial project like that, I think I would have voted for them.
Dario.
Yeah, and it was one comment, having kind of knowing Icon a little more behind the scenes. They're probably the most, I'll call it, progressive firm of the three. They have a whole department doing green stuff. They're 100% woman owned. They're minority held in addition. So they're not that qualifies you or makes you any better, but it was funny they didn't have a whole lot of women presenting, yet the whole company is 100% woman owned. I'm looking around saying, all right, what am I missing here? But it's a big deal. I mean, they're very progressive energy wise. The guy that we hired from them, they do a lot of the net zero buildings, and they've done a lot of platinum LEED stuff. So I know, and I don't know as much about, even though we've hired BH plus A or HKT, I don't know as much about them with regard to their progressiveness, but I do know Icon's pretty cutting edge on all that.
Okay. Any other comments before we call this vote final? Or does anyone want to make any changes? Okay. So I guess, Scott, do we need a official vote, motion and second?
Yes, somebody should motion to authorize us to negotiate an award based on successful negotiations. Second and a vote.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Okay, I'll give that a try. So I move that the Town Hall Feasibility Study Committee vote to hire, or is hire okay? Or go into negotiations with Icon Architecture Firm.
Yep. And engage them pending successful negotiations. Yep.
Yes, and that.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh,
okay.
Dario.
I think Dario beat you to it. So motion made by Kristen, seconded by Dario. Roll call vote. Dario.
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
Judy. Oh, you're on mute, Judy.
Aye.
Ashley,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so that is unanimous.
Great.
Did you get Linda?
Linda can't vote because she missed the presentation meeting.
And it didn't get recorded.
And
Otherwise,
yeah, there were some technical issues
yeah.
that meant it didn't get recorded. So, but you know, we are keeping Linda going forward for the other items that we all are going to have a lot of work to do. Aaron,
I'm going to raise my flesh hand this time.
it's easier to see.
In light of Scott's comment regarding the future of this committee, do we need to set a next date, or are we waiting for the select board to determine whether we're still engaged?
Just to clarify through the chair, so this committee's engagement will continue through completion of the feasibility study and guide that process going forward. I would like to schedule another meeting just because doing it through email is about as complicated as anything could be. It's likely going to take till after the holidays to get negotiations, insurance in place, contracts signed. So it may be best to schedule the next meeting if the chair agrees, either right before the holidays or quickly thereafter.
Let's see. I'm trying to pull up a calendar now here.
Can we look for Wednesdays in January? That's 3, 10, 17, 24, 20, 31.
Yeah, I mean, does Wednesdays work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we hold off till the second Wednesday, Scott?
Maybe
That way, if there are any issues with the contract or anything like that.
I would probably suggest the 20th, if that's okay. We are here on the 27th. The 29th, we would get everything going with negotiations. And by the time council goes back and forth.
No, I think he's talking December, right? December 20th.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Okay. That would be the soonest.
I thought you said after the holidays.
I would prefer January 3rd or.
Well, that's what I was saying is January 10th.
Yeah, January 10th would be better.
Yeah, I think January 10th would work.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Aaron was talking December.
No,
sorry. Quite the motivator he is.
So
yeah,
would that
cracking
be
the whip.
6:30 again, or is 7 o'clock okay? Because I think 6:30 is tricky for maybe Ashley.
No, I mean it's okay. It's okay for me. It's fine.
Yeah. Does
6
6:30 work for everybody?
but
yeah. Is 6:30 work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, that's our next meeting. Is there any other business? If not, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Dario?
Aye.
Aaron?
Yes.
Judy?
Aye.
Kristen?
Aye.
Ashley?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
And I want to thank Aaron for saying present and not here, since it's the holiday season.
Happy holidays, all.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody.